I'm Nelisa Monakali. I'm South African and I work as the head of the Electives and College Prep Department. I've been in Saudi for 8 years. I work as a language teacher, namely English. That was the first time, the first thing that brought me to Saudi. I graduated and moved to South Korea on a whim to teach English. So I just wanted to do something different. I actually wanted to take time to think or decide what I wanted to do, and I actually fell in love with teaching, especially teaching language, because there's a lot of cultural transfer there. And then moving from South Korea, where I spent 4 years, and into Saudi, it just deepened my love for language teaching. There were a lot, and may I say maybe negative, impressions or comments that people said online especially, but I was lucky enough to have friends that lived here. So I spoke to them and I got their experiences, and that gave me more comfort to come over. I first came here in 2016 and I started over in Al Hufuf in Al Hassa, and I was working for a large training institute where we worked with major oil and gas companies, right? We were training a lot of their employees who were going to be working on the oil rigs, and so it was a small village town, Al Hassa. The people were friendly, but it really gave me the impression I had in my mind of this kind of rustic, rural Saudi Arabia with the camels and the date farms and the deserts and the caves. So that was the initial impression. Moving to Riyadh, and it's been, however many years, there's a lot that has changed. Riyadh is where it's at, if I can say that. I've met a lot of people, especially expats, right, who have come to Saudi with whatever preconceptions, and they just stay in their own small bubbles, and they have a really bad time, doing that. So mixing with people, whether it's locals, whether it's other expats in the area, going out to the different places, trying different things, that always helps to kind of bring one out of one's comfort zone. So that's what I continue to do, and of course, the more Saudi changes, the more opportunities there are for doing that. Have I gotten a chance to travel around Saudi? Yes. I mean, it is a beautiful country, and every time I say that, people look at me kind of weird. I'm a fan of the desert sands, the emptiness, traveling around to the different areas. I've been down to Jazan, I've been to Farasan Island, I took the ferry with my car, I've slept out at the beach in Yanbu, of course, Jeddah. I've driven up to Umluj before it became this tourist hotspot. It was still very empty, they were still building. We got on a boat to visit these beautiful islands, and driving up to Al Ula and camping out there, and just even in and around Riyadh, it's an amazing place to be. And I really look at the tourism initiative that the government is doing as something amazing, because there are a lot of beautiful areas in the country. The idea that Saudi has a lot of heritage areas is amazing in and of itself, because people have a very limited view of what the country is. Even today with the internet, where you think people would actually look up things, you have people with a very ignorant or naive view of the area. They don't understand that it's a cosmopolitan city, Riyadh. Al Ula in and of itself, and other heritage sites, it's amazing to learn of the history. A lot of the locals, surprisingly, aren't even aware of the richness in their history. And coming, from a place like South Africa, where we have a very rich cultural tradition and heritage, it's amazing to kind of find similarities here, right? And it's always amazing to kind of learn new things about this place. So it always changes the perspective one might have. living in Riyadh, first of all, you cannot miss out on any of the events that happened, right? From Middle East, I was there the first time it ever came to the country, which was a surprise in and of itself. And then with Riyadh season, they're a lot more family oriented and maybe more milder things for people to do. There's a lot of stuff to, if you have an active social media account, there are a lot of things where you can just take pictures and videos and, the scenes and that. In terms of the city of Riyadh, I tend to go to more smaller gatherings, like hanging out with my friends, having a barbecue. We call it a braai in South Africa, so we do that a lot. We have a word in my language called Ubuntu, which is, if I can loosely translate it into English, like humaneness, right? The ability to approach others as a human, right? So Saudi has a lot of that. People here are very friendly. Of course, people have questions, but nobody really is kind of taken aback by that anymore. It's such a mixed place that people aren't surprised who you are, where you come from. We came to Wadi Hanifa, where it's one of the projects around the city to get people to socialize more and appreciate the natural surroundings. So we had a barbecue and, I was with some of my friends from South Africa, Palestine, and other parts of the world. The closeness to nature, this idea of going to the desert and just having a barbecue and having tea out in the desert or outside. So I connect to that a lot more because that's my personality. But there's also a very refined taste, and I think it comes with the culture itself. So, these lavish kind of coffee date type events, or one thing I'm seeing now a lot more is the arts. It's exploding, so music, concerts, showings and so on. So there's a lot of rich tradition here. Any similarities between Saudi Arabia and South African culture? A big one is national pride. We are a very proud people. We're proud of who we are, and we are proud of the idea of mixture and coming from different backgrounds, different tribes. And the pride of one's tribe also is very rich in Saudi, so those are the similarities. A love of eating and food, of course, and family gatherings. So those are the two main ones that stick out for me. Honestly, there are very few dishes that stand out as much as kabsa. It's the national dish, if I can say so. The great thing about living in a city like Riyadh is you're exposed to so many other cultural foods, right? So whether it's different levels of Asian food or different kinds of Arabic food, you can find African foods here as well.